My 35-year-old son handed my credit card to his father-in-law with a grin. "Use it? My dad has plenty of money." I stood right behind them at the gas station counter, hearing my zip code rattle off like a gunshot. That swipe didn't just take money. It exposed a conspiracy selling my house, draining my retirement accounts, and burying me in debt under my own name. I spent my whole life auditing other people's books. Tonight, I'm opening the ledger on my own son. My name is Margaret Hale Maggie, to anyone who's known me longer than 5 minutes, and at 62. I thought I'd seen every financial scam there was. 3 decades as a compliance supervisor at Everhart County Services taught me to spot fraud like a bloodhound catches scent. But standing in that Sunoco station on Highway 49 at 9:40 p.m. on a humid Tuesday night, watching my own son commit it, that was new. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting everything in that sickly greenish tint that makes everyone look guilty. Derek stood at the counter next to his father-in-law, Terence Vaughan, both of them reeking of motor oil and that particular brand of arrogance men get when they think they're pulling something clever. Terence had his work boots planted wide, paint-splattered jeans hanging low, his Vaughan and Oak Renovations polo shirt stretched tight across a belly built by beer and entitlement. $486 total, the cashier said, barely looking up from her phone. That's when Derek pulled out my visa, not his card. Mine. The platinum one I'd worked 30 years to qualify for. The one with the rewards points I'd been saving for a cruise to Alaska, a trip my late husband Tom and I never got to take. "Here, use this," Derek said, sliding it across to Terence like he was passing a cigarette. Then came the words that would replay in my head for weeks. My dad has plenty of money. My dad. Not my mom. Dad. As if Tom, dead 3 years now from a heart attack at his desk, was still around to foot the bill. As if the money I'd scraped together, invested, saved, and protected was somehow posthumous generosity from a ghost. Terence took the card without hesitation. Didn't even pretend to protest. 27004. He rattled off. My zip code. He knew it by heart. I stayed behind the energy drink display, my hand gripping my purse strap so tight my knuckles went white. The security camera above the register would catch everything: the angle, the faces, the transaction. 23 years of investigating financial crimes had taught me to catalogue evidence even when my heart was breaking. The receipt printed with that familiar grinding sound. $486. Gas for Terence's F350 diesel for his work van, and a red Craftsman toolbox I could see through the window, already loaded in his truck bed. Derek laughed at something Terence said, something about a job in Mooresville that would set them up nice. I waited until they pushed through the glass doors, bell chiming their exit, before I approached the counter. The cashier looked up, already annoyed at another customer. "That transaction that just went through," I said, keeping my voice steady, professional. "I need a receipt copy, and I need to speak to your manager about your security footage." "Ma'am, we can't just—" I pulled out my own ID, my credit card, the same one Terence had just used, and my phone showing my banking app. That was my card, used without my permission. I need documentation for the fraud report. The girl's eyes went wide. She called for the manager, a tired-looking man named Pete, who emerged from the back office smelling like microwave popcorn and resignation. It took 15 minutes, but I left with a receipt copy, the incident report number, and Pete's direct phone number for when the investigators called. In my Camry, doors locked, AC running. I opened my banking app with trembling fingers. The damage spread across my screen like spilled wine on a white tablecloth. Pending transactions dating back 2 weeks. Home Pro Warehouse, $1.847. Contractor Supply Plus, $9.32. ATM withdrawal, $500. ATM withdrawal, $500. ATM withdrawal, $500. All at locations Terence frequented. All using my PIN, which meant Derek had given him that too. I scrolled further. A pending application inquiry from First National for a HELOC, a home equity line of credit against my house. The house Tom and I had paid off 5 years ago. The house that was supposed to be my security, my fortress against whatever came next. My phone lit up with a text from Derek. Hey, Mum. Forgot to mention I borrowed your card earlier for gas. We'll pay you back Friday. Borrowed. As if betrayal could be returned with interest. I started the engine, my mind already shifting into the cold, methodical space I used to inhabit when building cases. Document everything. Create timelines. Follow the money. Build the walls of evidence so high and tight that when they came crashing down, they'd bury everyone involved. But first, I drove home, watching my rearview mirror to make sure neither Derek's Honda nor Terence's truck followed. Because the next morning, I was going to war. And the first rule of any investigation, never let them know you're coming. The gate lock had fresh scratches around the keyhole, silver scars against the weathered brass. I ran my finger along the gouges while pulling the mail from the box, 3 pre-approved HELOC offers, addressed to me, all from different banks, all promising to unlock my home's potential. The timing wasn't coincidental. My house on Hollow Creek Road sat at the end of a cul-de-sac, surrounded by 100-year-old oaks that Tom had refused to cut down despite the constant gutter cleaning. This morning, at 7:15, those trees cast shadows that made everything look like it was hiding something. Maybe it was. Inside. I spread the HELOC offers across my kitchen table next to my laptop and coffee. The first call went to my bank, First National, where I'd had accounts since 1987. Mrs. Hale. Yes. I see here there was an inquiry about a home equity line, the representative said after I'd cleared security. Application was started online 3 days ago, but not completed. I need you to freeze any applications under my name and social. Add a verbal password. I glanced at Tom's photo on the mantel, Corvette, 1969. And I want real-time alerts for any account access. Ma'am, has your identity been compromised? That's what I'm determining. Can you send me temporary statements for the last 30 days and the merchant category codes for all transactions? While she processed my requests, I searched through the stack of papers Derek had left during his last visit, supposedly to help me organize Dad's old files, hidden between tax returns. I found it a Home Pro Warehouse receipt for two $341 billed to my account, with delivery address listed as 4878 Industrial Way, Vaughan and Oak Renovations Workshop. The laptop dinged with the bank's email. I opened the PDF and started highlighting. Every transaction had a story. The ATM withdrawals were all from the same machine at Creek's Corner Mart, 2 blocks from Terence's shop. The hardware store purchases aligned with Vaughan and Oak's Facebook posts about exciting new projects coming soon. My phone rang. Derek. Mum, did you change the credit card? PIN Dad's birthday isn't working. Dad's birthday. That's how they'd gotten it. I kept my voice neutral, casual. Having some issues with that card. Honey, why do you need it? Oh, just Terence needs materials for this job, and Olivia said we could help out until his client pays. You know, family. helping family. Is that what we're calling it? What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Tell Terence his client payment issues aren't my problem. Derek's tone shifted, defensive. God. Mum. Why are you being like this? It's just temporary. Terence says you're sitting on a gold mine with that house. All that equity going to waste. We could help you access it. Make it work for everyone. There it was. The full picture. Derek, did you or Terence try to open a home equity line in my name? Silence. Then, he just said it would be easier if we handled the paperwork. You're not good with online stuff anyway. My laptop dinged again. The iCloud photos sync from the iPad Derek had borrowed last month to show me vacation photos. There, in the shared folder, was a scanned document, a power of attorney form with my forged signature, giving Terence full financial authority over my accounts. The signature was close, but not perfect. They'd traced it from something, probably birthday cards I'd sent. But the notary seal that was completely fabricated. Amateur hour. I have to go, I told Derek. But tell Terence something for me. Tell him identity theft is a federal crime. Tell him elder financial abuse carries mandatory jail time in North Carolina, and tell him I have cameras. Mum, you're overreacting. I hung up. The next call was to Ridgemont Notary Services. This is Margaret Hale. I need to verify if anyone has had documents notarized in my name this month. Let me check. No. Mrs. Hale. Nothing under your name or social security number. 2 more calls confirmed it. The power of attorney was never legally notarized. They'd forged everything. By 10 I'd assembled my evidence folders, transaction records in one, forged documents in another, screenshots of Derek and Terence's text messages from the synced iPad in a third. They'd been careless, discussing the old lady's money, like I was already in a nursing home. My phone buzzed with a text from Terence himself. Margaret, we're family now. Families share resources. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I screenshotted it, adding to my evidence file, then typed back, families don't forge signatures, they don't steal credit cards, and they definitely don't try to steal houses. His response was immediate. You can't prove anything. I smiled, the kind of smile I used to wear when I'd caught someone falsifying expense reports. Then I opened my email and started typing a message to my old friend at the county sheriff's department. The subject line read, Financial Elder Abuse Case, Evidence Attached. Because Terence was right about one thing. We were family now, and I was about to show him exactly what that meant. The whiteboard took up half my home office wall, a relic from my compliance days that Tom used to joke made our spare bedroom look like a war room. Now it actually was one. Red markers for fraudulent transactions, blue for evidence timeline, black for the network of lies spreading like blood vessels across the clean white surface. I stood back, coffee mug in hand, studying the pattern at 8:30 a.m. 3 weeks of theft mapped out in dry erase ink. The total had climbed to $12,147, not counting the attempted HELOC fraud. My retirement account showed suspicious login attempts. My social security number had been used for 2 new credit card applications I'd managed to block. This wasn't just theft anymore. It was systematic financial identity destruction. The doorbell interrupted my analysis. Through the peephole stood Laura Whitaker, 15 years older, but still carrying herself like the rookie officer who'd helped me nail a benefits fraud ring back in 2009. Now a sergeant with the Financial Crimes Unit. She held a tablet and wore that expression cops get when they smell a good case. Maggie, she said, stepping into my foyer. Your email was thorough. You know me. Documentation is my love language. She followed me to the office, whistled low at the whiteboard. Jesus, this is organized crime-level planning. Except organized criminals are usually smarter. I handed her a binder, tabs color-coded by crime type. Forgery, identity theft, elder financial abuse, credit card fraud, and attempted mortgage fraud. Take your pick. Laura flipped through pages, occasionally photographing documents with her tablet. The power of attorney forgery alone is a felony. But Maggie, you know how these family cases go. The DA might push for a plea deal, restitution instead of prosecution. Not if we build it right. I pulled up my laptop, showing her the transaction heat map I'd created. Look at the pattern. Every theft coincides with Vaughan and Oak's project bids. Terence was using my credit as his business float. And Derek. I swallowed hard. Derek was taking a cut. 10% of every transaction transferred to his Venmo the same day. You can prove that. Check the iPad sync folder, screenshot series 7 through 15. They discussed percentages. Derek called it his finder's fee. Laura set down the tablet. You need to activate some protection protocols. Today, elder abuse financial freeze at all 3 credit bureaus, fraud alerts on everything, and... She hesitated. You might want to consider a restraining order. Already started the paperwork? I showed her the forms from legal aid. But I need something more immediate. A sting. Maggie, we can't. Not we, me. I'm hosting Sunday dinner at Terence's house this weekend. Olivia invited me, probably to soften me up. I'll wear a wire, get them talking. North Carolina is a one-party consent state for recording. Laura studied me. You've really thought this through. I had a good teacher. I pulled out another folder. Remember the Hutchinson case? You taught me that financial crimes are about pattern and proof. Well, I've got pattern. I tapped the whiteboard. Now I need proof of intent. She stood, paced to the window overlooking my garden. If you're going to record, do it legally. I'll register you as a cooperating witness, get you proper equipment. But Maggie, if this goes sideways, if Terence gets violent, he won't. He's a coward who hides behind family relations and forged signatures. Besides, I opened my desk drawer, revealing a small canister of pepper spray and a personal alarm. I'm not exactly defenseless. Laura turned back, a slight smile breaking through her professional mask. Tom would be proud of how you're handling this. Tom would have driven over there with a baseball bat. Fair point. She pulled out her official notebook. Let's do this properly. I need a formal statement. Every transaction, every conversation you remember. Then we'll coordinate with the bank's fraud department, the credit bureaus, and... She paused for effect. The IRS. The IRS. Terence has been writing off materials purchased with your card as business expenses. That's tax fraud on top of everything else. I felt a savage satisfaction bloom in my chest. How long until we can move? Give me 48 hours to set up the technical surveillance. The barbecue is perfect relaxed atmosphere. Alcohol flowing, guards down, get them bragging. These types always want to explain how clever they've been. After Laura left, I sat at my computer and pulled up my bank's fraud reporting page. Each transaction I disputed felt like loading another bullet into a legal gun. The bank's investigator called within an hour. Mrs. Hale, based on the evidence you've provided, We're initiating a full fraud recovery investigation. The transactions will be reversed within 7 to 10 business days. We're also noting attempted elder financial abuse in your file, which triggers additional protections. What about the HELOC application? Terminated and flagged. Any future applications will require in-person verification with 2 forms of ID and a verbal password. By evening, I'd built my fortress credit frozen, accounts protected. Evidence backed up in 3 locations, including Laura's official server. My phone buzzed with a text from Derek. "Mom, dinner. Sunday at 4. Olivia's making your favorite potato salad." My favorite. They didn't even know I was allergic to mayonnaise. I texted back, "I'll bring dessert, and evidence, and a wire, and the kind of justice that comes with handcuffs." The whiteboard stared back at me, all those red marks like a roadmap to their destruction. I picked up the black marker and wrote at the bottom, "Recording Sunday, final evidence." Then I circled it 3 times, the way I used to circle audit exceptions that would end someone's career. Except this time, it would end with more than just a pink slip. The Ring doorbell camera arrived Tuesday morning in an Amazon box I'd scheduled for exactly 9:15 a.m, when Derek would be at his sporadic job at the hardware store. Installation took 20 minutes. Tom had been thorough about teaching me to use power tools. Said a woman living alone should know her way around a drill. The camera went up clean, angled to catch anyone approaching my front door and, more importantly, capture clear audio of porch conversations. Wednesday brought the AirTags, tiny white discs that looked like breath mints. One went into my wallet, sewn into the lining where fingers wouldn't feel it during a grab. Another tucked into the bottom of my purse, sealed under the fabric with double-sided tape. The third I saved for something special, the decoy credit card Laura had helped me obtain through the bank's fraud department. "It's a honeypot card," the bank's security specialist had explained over the phone. "Limited to $500, flagged for immediate notification of any usage. GPS tracked at point of sale. Every transaction photographs the user through merchant cameras we can subpoena." The recording device arrived Thursday via Laura herself, who came by at 7 p.m. under the pretense of borrowing gardening tools. She handed me what looked like a standard smartphone. "It's modified," she explained in my kitchen, voice low even though we were alone. "Records continuously for 12 hours. Uploads to our secure server in real time. Keep it in your pocket. The microphone is military grade. It'll pick up conversations from 15 feet away." "What about video?" "The pen." She pulled out what appeared to be a regular ballpoint. "Camera in the clip? Just keep it in your shirt pocket, facing outward. We'll have a unit parked 3 blocks away, monitoring everything." Friday. I prepared my props. The decoy credit card went into a separate wallet. An old red one I'd retired years ago, but kept in my drawer, the kind of thing someone might believably carry as a backup. I loaded it with expired grocery store rewards cards and old business cards from my working days, making it look lived in, legitimate. I also prepared mentally, standing in front of my bathroom mirror at 6 a.m, practicing expressions. Confused elder, trusting mother, slightly addled widow. Each mask slipped on and off like clothes, hiding the sharp-eyed investigator underneath who was documenting every detail, building the prosecution's case word by word. "You sure about Sunday dinner?" I asked my reflection, then answered in the wavering voice I'd use at Terence's table. "Oh, I'd love to come, dear. Should I bring my checkbook for that investment opportunity you mentioned?" "Perfect." The confused but compliant elder Exactly what they expected. Saturday morning brought Derek to my door, unexpected and fidgeting. The Ring camera would be recording everything. I knew. As I opened the door wearing my gardening clothes, dirt strategically smudged on my cheek. "Mum, about tomorrow?" "Oh, honey, come in. I was just potting some tomatoes." I led him to the kitchen, noting how his eyes went immediately to my purse on the counter. "Want some coffee?" "Sure." He sat at the table, fingers drumming. "Listen, about the credit card thing. Terence feels bad about the misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" I kept my back to him, pouring coffee, letting the confusion creep into my voice. "What misunderstanding?" "The him using your card? He wants to make it right tomorrow. Has a business proposal that could benefit everyone." I turned, coffee in hand, and let my face show interest. "Oh, Tom always said good investments were important for retirement." Derek's eyes lit up. He thought he had me. "Exactly, Dad would want you taken care of. Terence has this plan with the house equity." "The house," I sat down, gripping the mug like a lifeline. "But Tom and I paid that off." "Right. But it's just sitting there. Mom. Wasted potential. Terence knows construction, knows property. He could help you leverage it, make it work for you." I pulled the red wallet from my purse, set it on the table between us. "Would I need this?" "The bank gave me a new card after those fraud alerts. They said I should be careful with it." Derek's hand twitched toward it, then pulled back. "Maybe bring it tomorrow, just in case we need to set up any accounts." "Accounts?" I blinked, confused. "Derek, I don't understand all this financial stuff. Your father handled it. Maybe I should call my accountant." "No." He caught himself, smiled. "I mean, no need to bother anyone else. We're family. We'll take care of you." After he left, I called Laura. He took the bait. "They're planning to get me to sign something tomorrow." "We'll be ready. Remember, you need clear verbal admission of the forgery and the conspiracy. Get them to acknowledge the fake power of attorney specifically." "Don't worry," I said, watching through my window as Derek's Honda disappeared down Hollow Creek Road. "By tomorrow night, they'll confess everything." I spent Saturday evening at my whiteboard, adding Derek's visit to the timeline. Then I practiced with the recording equipment, testing ranges and angles. The pen camera caught everything in impressive clarity. The phone recorder picked up my whispered voice from across the room. Finally. I prepared my costume for tomorrow's performance, comfortable slacks with pockets for the recorder, a cardigan with a breast pocket for the pen, sensible shoes in case I needed to leave quickly. I set out the red wallet with the honeypot card, my folder of confused bank statements with strategic highlights that would make me look vulnerable, and a plate of Tom's mother's brownies I'd baked the ultimate prop of a harmless grandmother. Sunday would be the culmination of everything. 3 weeks of theft, lies, and betrayal would end with their own words condemning them. I looked at Tom's photo one last time before bed. Almost there? Honey? Almost time to close the books on this one. Tomorrow, the trap would spring. The magnetic strip on Terence's refrigerator held 3 HomePro warehouse invoices, corners curled from humidity, each one bearing my name in the billing field. I stood in his kitchen at 4:15 p., holding my plate of brownies, pretending not to notice them while Olivia bustled around preparing potato salad I'd never eat. "Mom Hale, you came..." Olivia's enthusiasm seemed genuine, which somehow made it worse. She wore a sundress that probably cost more than she and Derek could afford, unless they were using my credit for that too. The backyard, visible through sliding doors, showed the full Vaughan empire, a Weber grill that had to run $2,000, fresh composite decking, a new pergola with those expensive Edison lights strung across it. All built, I'd bet, on other people's credit. Where should I put these? I held up the brownies, noting how my hand trembled just enough to sell the fragile elder act. Oh, anywhere's fine. Terence? She called out the back door. Maggie's here. Terence emerged from his workshop, wiping his hands on a rag, paint splattered, but somehow still managing to look like he owned the world. Derek followed behind him, carrying a Bluetooth speaker that was definitely new, definitely expensive. Margaret. Terence boomed, pulling me into a hug that let him check my pockets. The recording phone sat heavy against my ribs. The pen camera captured his face perfectly. Glad you could make it. We've got some exciting things to discuss. The patio table had been set with deliberate care, the good plates, actual napkins instead of paper towels, even a centerpiece. This wasn't just dinner. It was a production designed to lower my guard. Beer. Mom. Derek offered. Already twisted the cap off a Corona. Just water, dear. My medications, you know. I didn't have any medications, but confused elders always did. We sat around the table, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the decking. Terence manned the grill, thick ribeyes sizzling $30 a pound at least. My money, probably. So, Margaret, Terence said, flipping the steaks with unnecessary flair. Derek tells me you're interested in our investment opportunity. I pulled out my confused bank statements, the ones I'd marked up to look like I'd been trying to understand them. I'm just so overwhelmed since Tom passed. These statements, all these charges I don't understand. Terence exchanged a look with Derek. Well, that's what family's for. We help each other out. But some of these charges, they're so large. This one, I pointed to a 2-341-1 Home Pro transaction. I don't remember buying anything there. Oh, that. Terence didn't miss a beat. That was for your kitchen renovation. Remember, we discussed it last month? My kitchen. I blinked, looked toward the house. But my kitchen hasn't been touched. Right. We ordered the materials but haven't started yet. Been busy with other jobs? But hey, since we're talking about it. He set down the spatula, pulled out a folder from under his chair. He'd come prepared. Let's discuss making your money work harder. The folder contained official-looking documents, HELOC applications with First National's logo, but something was off about the printing. Probably downloaded and modified. Your house is worth what? $400,000 now. Terence leaned forward, his voice taking on that tone men use when they think they're explaining something complex to someone simple. You're sitting on all that equity doing nothing. We could access it, invest in some renovation projects, double your money in 6 months. But wouldn't I have to pay it back? That's the beauty of it, Derek chimed in, clearly rehearsed. The profits from the renovation projects would pay the loan. You'd never feel it. I'd manage everything, Terence added. You wouldn't have to worry about a thing. In fact, he pulled out another document. We took the liberty of preparing the paperwork. Just needs your signature. There it was. The power of attorney form. Different from the forged one, but equally dangerous. This one would be legitimate, signed by a confused old woman at a family dinner. I should probably read this first, I said, pulling it closer. Oh, It's all standard stuff. Terence waved his hand dismissively. Derek, tell your mom how we've been using her card for materials. She seems confused about it. Derek shifted uncomfortably. Well, we've been helping you out, Mom. Using your credit to buy materials for your renovation? Which renovation you just said you haven't started? For the planning phase? Terence interjected smoothly. Design materials, samples, it all costs money up front. And you've been using my credit card for this without asking me. Mom, you said we could. Derek's voice pitched higher, defensive. When, last month, at lunch, you said to do whatever we thought was best. I was talking about paint colors for my bathroom. Derek. Terence stood, his size suddenly imposing. Look, Margaret, let's not make this complicated. We're family. Derek said you had plenty of money, that his dad left you well off. We're just trying to help you use it wisely. There it was, the admission, captured in military-grade clarity. His dad has been gone 3 years, I said quietly. Any money I have, I earned myself. 30 years at Everhart County Services. Whatever. Terence dismissed. Point is, you need help managing it. Sign the papers. We'll handle everything. Hell, we've been handling it already, might as well make it official. You've been handling it. The credit cards, the applications, all of it. Derek gave me your information months ago. We've been laying groundwork for your financial future. Derek wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom, it's for your own good. I stood slowly, gripping the table. I need to use the bathroom. Inside. I texted Laura. Got it all? They just admitted to everything. When I returned, they'd opened another round of beers, relaxed, confident they'd worn me down. The doorbell rang a delivery driver with perfect timing. Large order for Vaughan, the driver called out. Terence grinned. That's the materials for the Mooresville job. Just put it in the garage. He looked at me. Actually, Margaret, your card's on file for that, part of our investment partnership. The trap was so perfectly sprung, I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. The dining room table had been cleared of dinner plates and transformed into what Terence clearly thought was a closing desk, like we were at a used car lot and he was about to seal the deal of the century. The power of attorney document sat in the center, a gold cross pen beside it, probably stolen from someone else's credit too. Now then, Terence said, pulling out reading glasses that made him look like a corrupt banker in a bad movie. Let's make this official. The doorbell rang again, right on schedule. I'll get it, Olivia said, but Terence waved her down. Probably another delivery. They can leave it. He focused on me, shark eyes over those ridiculous glasses. Margaret, just sign here, and initial here. A woman's voice carried from the front door. Mobile notary services for Margaret Hale. I let confusion wash over my face. Notary I didn't call, I did, Derek said quickly, too quickly. To make everything official, legal. The notary entered, except she wasn't just a notary. Laura had arranged for Detective Patricia Morse from Financial Crimes to play the part. She carried an official-looking briefcase and wore the bland, forgettable outfit of someone who'd spent their career witnessing signatures. Mrs. Hale. Patricia approached me directly, ignoring the men's attempts to intercede. I need to verify some information before we proceed. This is standard for financial documents involving seniors. Terence's jaw tightened. That's not necessary. Actually, it's state law, Patricia said smoothly. Elder Financial Protection Act, passed last year. She pulled out a form. Mrs. Hale. Can you tell me your full legal name? Margaret Louise Hale? Date of birth. I deliberately got it wrong. March 15th, 1960. 4. Patricia made a note. And your current address. I gave them my old address from 10 years ago, before Tom and I moved to Hollow Creek. Mum, that's not right, Derek interrupted. She lives at 1847 Hollow Creek Road. Sir, please don't coach the signatory, Patricia said sternly. Mrs. Hale, who is this gentleman to you? That's my son. I think Derek. You think? Terence stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. She's just nervous. Patricia turned to him. And you are? Terence Vaughan. The beneficiary, the business partner. Beneficiary. Patricia's eyebrow raised. Of what, exactly? Nothing business partner. We're helping Margaret with investments. Using her credit cards, Patricia asked innocently. The room went silent. Derek's face drained of colour. Terence's hands clenched and unclenched. Who told you about? Terence caught himself. Patricia pulled out her phone. Mrs. Hale, I need to verify your identity. Can you FaceTime with your bank? They called to confirm this notarization. The bank called you? I asked, playing along. Yes. Apparently there have been some unusual activities on your accounts. The phone rang, and a face appeared, the fraud department supervisor I'd been working with, though Terence and Derek wouldn't know that. Mrs. Hale, the supervisor said clearly. We're calling about the HELOC application submitted in your name. Can you confirm you authorized this? HELOC. I turned to Terence. Is that the thing you were explaining? With my house? Terence leaned toward the phone. Yes. She authorized it. I'm her financial advisor. Sir, are you listed on her accounts? Well, no. But then I need to speak to Mrs. Hale directly. Ma'am, for security. Can you tell me the last 4 digits of your social security number? Terence rattled them off before I could speak. 6789. The supervisor's face went stone cold. Sir, how do you know that information? Derek told me. For the application. Derek was backing toward the door. Dad's not feeling well. Mum gets confused. Mr. Hale. Patricia interrupted. Did you provide your mother's personal information to Mr. Vaughan? She's my mother. I was helping. By giving away her social security number and credit card information. Terence's voice dropped to a growl. Now wait a minute. We're family here. This is a family matter. No, I said, standing up, my voice suddenly crystal clear, all confusion gone. This is theft. This is fraud. And this is over. I pulled out the recording phone, set it on the table. Everything's been recorded. Every admission. Every lie. Every forged document you mentioned. You can't record without... Terence started. North Carolina is a one-party consent state, Patricia said, dropping her notary act. Detective Patricia Morse, Financial Crimes Division, Mr. Vaughan, Mr. Hale. I'm going to need you both to remain where you are. Derek bolted for the back door. He made it 3 steps before Officer Martinez appeared from the side yard Laura had positioned units everywhere. Terence grabbed the power of attorney, tried to tear it, but Patricia already had her hand on his wrist. Sir, that's evidence. And from what we just witnessed, Conspiracy to commit elder fraud. "This is entrapment," Terence shouted. "She tricked us." "No," I said, pulling out the forged POA from my purse, the one from Derek's iPad. "This is what you did first. Forgery, identity theft, credit card fraud, $23,000 in 3 weeks." "Mom," Derek pleaded from where Martinez had him against the wall. "How could you?" "How could I?" I laughed, bitter and sharp. "You gave my credit card to this man and said, 'My dad has plenty of money. Your father is dead?' Derek? That money was mine, my security, my future." Olivia stood frozen in the doorway, potato salad bowl still in her hands, watching her American dream crack apart. Patricia's radio crackled. "We've got confirmation from the bank. Full documentation received." The room filled with uniforms, evidence bags, cameras. They found more in Terence's office credit applications for cars, boats, even a motorcycle, all using my information. As they led Terence out in handcuffs, he turned to me. "You stupid old woman. You could have had it all." "I did have it all," I replied, "until you tried to steal it." The late afternoon sun slanted through the dining room windows at 5:17 p., casting long shadows across the evidence bags that Detective Morse was methodically filling. Outside, I could see 2 patrol cars parked at perfect angles, their presence silent but unmistakable. Laura had orchestrated everything flawlessly. "Mrs. Hale?" Detective Morse said, pulling out an official tablet. "We need to document everything while it's fresh. Are you comfortable proceeding?" I nodded, pulling out my color-coded folders from my tote bag, the one I'd carried instead of my purse, knowing it would look more harmless. "I have everything organized chronologically." Laura entered from the kitchen, having been monitoring from the mobile unit. "Maggie's documentation is pristine. 23 years in compliance makes for excellent evidence collection." The dining room had transformed into a crime scene. Yellow evidence markers sat next to the forged power of attorney documents. The fake HELOC applications spread across the table like a deck of marked cards. Patricia photographed each one with forensic precision. "Let's start with the credit card fraud," Laura said, opening my red folder. "Transaction history shows systematic theft beginning May 15th. I pulled out the bank statements, each fraudulent charge highlighted in yellow. MCC codes indicate hardware stores, construction supplies, and luxury goods. Cross-reference with Vaughan and Oak Renovations Facebook posts shows materials from my card appearing in their client projects." "That's circumstantial." Terence started from where he sat, handcuffed to a dining chair. "Actually," the fraud supervisor's voice came through the phone still on speaker. "We have video footage from HomePro Warehouse showing you, Mr. Vaughan, using Mrs. Hale's card while stating her zip code, 12 separate incidents." I added the evidence that clinched it. "The AirTag I placed in my wallet shows it traveling to Mr. Vaughan's workshop 6 times this month. Here's the location history." Derek, handcuffed in the living room but visible through the archway, looked sick. "Mom, please. This is destroying everything." "No, Derek. You destroyed everything when you said those 5 words, 'My dad has plenty of money.'" Patricia pulled up financial records on her tablet. "Miss Vaughan, your business account shows deposits matching 10% of each fraudulent charge, transferred from Derek Hale's Venmo within hours of each transaction." "Those were loans," Derek protested. "Loans with no documentation, no repayment schedule, that coincidentally match a finder's fee percentage." Laura's voice was ice. The FBI calls that conspiracy. The FBI. Terrence's bravado cracked. Credit card fraud over $10,000 is federal. Patricia explained. Add identity theft, elder abuse, and attempted mortgage fraud. You're looking at federal charges on top of state. A representative from First National Bank arrived, a severe woman in a navy suit who introduced herself as Catherine Mills, Senior Vice President of Security. She carried a briefcase that looked bulletproof. Mrs. Hale, she said, ignoring everyone else. We've frozen all accounts associated with the fraud. The HELOC application has been terminated and flagged in the federal database. No financial institution will process applications with your information without biometric verification. She pulled out a document. This is our full report showing attempted unauthorized access to your retirement accounts from IP addresses traced to... She glanced at Terrence. Vaughan and Oak Renovations office computer. You tried to access my retirement? I turned to Derek, genuinely shocked for the first time. That's 40 years of savings. It was just to see, Derek started, to see how much you could steal. I pulled out the iPad screenshots. Because these messages between you and Terrence discuss taking a fair share of my 401k. Officer Martinez returned from searching Terrence's workshop. We found additional credit cards in Mrs. Hale's name, 3 Visa, 2 MasterCard, an American Express, black. A black card. I stood up sharply. Those require $700,000 in annual income. You inflated my financial profile. Terrence's face had gone grey. Each revelation added years to potential sentences. There's more, Catherine Mills continued. We found applications for business loans using Mrs. Hale's house as collateral. Submitted yesterday. Yesterday, while they were planning this dinner, they were still actively stealing. Laura pulled me aside. Maggie, we have enough for immediate arrest and prosecution, but there's something else. She showed me her phone. Olivia Vaughan has been texting someone named Bradley about the old lady's money being ready soon. Bradley. Terrence's brother in Florida. The construction fraud was apparently a family business. Can we get them all? I asked. With what you've given us, we can get everyone. Detective Morse began reading rights. Terrence Vaughan, you're under arrest for identity theft, elder financial exploitation, credit card fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit mortgage fraud. As they stood him up, Terrence made one last attempt. Margaret, we're families help each other. Families don't help themselves to each other's life savings, I responded. Derek was next. Derek Hale, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, and elder financial exploitation. Mom, Derek's voice broke. I'm your son. My son died the day he handed my credit card to a thief and called it family. Olivia hadn't moved, still clutching that potato salad bowl like a life preserver. Mrs. Hale? I never. Check her phone, I told Laura. Bradley's texts will show she knew. As they led Derek and Terrence out, Catherine Mills handed me a card. Mrs. Hale, the bank will pursue full restitution. With the evidence you've provided, recovery is guaranteed. The investigation showed remarkable preparation on your part. I spent 23 years catching fraudsters, I said. I just never thought I'd have to catch my own son. The house emptied, except for Laura and me. She started packing evidence bags, each one labelled with the precision that would ensure convictions. You know they'll probably take plea deals, Laura said gently. Good. Prison time, restitution, and criminal records. They wanted my money. They can have my justice instead. The kitchen still smelled like grilled meat and betrayal. Potato salad congealed in the bowl Olivia had abandoned on the counter, mayonnaise separating in the heat. Through the window, I watched the patrol cars pull away, my son and his father-in-law visible through the back windows, heads down, reality setting in. Laura stood beside me, packing the last of the evidence bags. You did the right thing, Maggie. Did I? I picked up the honeypot credit card, its pristine surface reflecting the overhead light. I set a trap for my own son. No, he set the trap. You just refused to be the victim. Detective Morse returned from coordinating with the units. Mrs. Hale, we'll need you at the station tomorrow for formal statements. But tonight... She paused, looking at the destruction of what should have been a family dinner. Tonight? You should go home? I pulled the decoy wallet from my purse, removed the AirTag, the honeypot card, all the props of my sting operation. Each one had played its part perfectly. The recording phone had captured every word. The pen camera had filmed every moment. The evidence was ironclad. There's one more thing, I said, reaching into my folder for the document I'd saved for last. The protection order. I had it drawn up yesterday. Laura took it, scanned the legal language. Financial restraining order. No contact clause. Asset protection mandate. This prevents them from coming within 500 feet of you or attempting any financial transaction using your information. Sign it, I said. Make it immediate. As Laura processed the paperwork on her tablet, Catherine Mills from the bank called back. Mrs. Hale, I wanted you to know we've reversed all fraudulent charges. The $23,000 will be credited by 9 tomorrow. We're also adding our highest level of fraud protection to all your accounts, free for life. And, she paused, we're pursuing criminal charges independently. The federal prosecutor is very interested in the interstate fraud aspect. Interstate? Because Terrence's brother Bradley in Florida had been part of it. The investigation would spread like ink in water, touching everyone who'd thought my money was theirs for the taking. Officer Martinez returned with a final box of evidence from Terrence's workshop. Ma'am, we found something you should see. Inside were printed emails between Derek and Terrence, dating back 6 months, planning this, discussing my net worth, my house value, my retirement accounts. One email had a subject line that made my stomach turn Operation Motherload. They'd named their theft of me like it was a game. I looked at the email dated 3 days after Tom's funeral. Derek had written, "She's vulnerable now. Perfect timing. Vulnerable." My husband wasn't even cold in the ground, and my son was planning to rob me. Add conspiracy to the charges, I told Laura. Premeditated financial exploitation. The sun had set completely now, the kitchen lit only by overhead fluorescents that made everything look harsh and clinical, fitting for the autopsy of a family. Mrs. Hale, Patricia said, returning from her radio call. Olivia Vaughan wants to make a deal. She'll testify against both of them in exchange for immunity. Let her, I said. Someone should walk away from this with their freedom intact. I gathered my things, the folders now empty of evidence, all of it in official hands. The brownies I'd brought sat untouched on the counter. Tom's mother's recipe, made with love for people who'd shown none in return. Walking to my car, I noticed the delivery truck still in the driveway, full of materials ordered on my credit. Tomorrow, it would all be returned. Charges reversed. Another piece of evidence in the case that would destroy Vaughan and Oak renovations. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then saw the preview, Mrs. Hale, this is Bradley Vaughan. I showed it to Laura. He's trying to contact me, probably to negotiate. Forward it to me, she said. We'll add witness tampering to the charges. In my Camry, I turned the key and NPR came on, discussing elder financial fraud statistics. 1 in 10 seniors victimized. Billions stolen annually. Most never report it because the criminals are family. Not me. Not today. I drove home through empty Sunday evening streets, past families finishing dinners that hadn't ended in handcuffs. My house on Hollow Creek Road stood dark but solid. Still mine. Still safe. The new Ring doorbell blinked blue in the darkness. Standing guard. Inside. I went straight to my office. The whiteboard still displayed the timeline of theft. But now I could add one final entry. With a red marker. I wrote at the bottom, case closed. Full restitution ordered. Charges filed. Then I sat at my desk and opened a new document on my laptop. The title typed itself, When Family Becomes Fraud, A Survivor's Guide to Elder Financial Exploitation. Someone else would need this information someday. Some other mother, father, grandparent discovering that love and blood mean nothing when money enters the equation. I'd write it all down, the warning signs, the documentation needed, the strength required to dial 911 on your own child. My phone rang. The caller ID showed the county detention center. Derek's voice, broken and hollow. Mom, please. I need bail money. I almost laughed at the audacity. You stole $23,000 from me. You tried to steal my house. You named it Operation Mother Lode. And now you want bail money. Mum, I'm sorry. I'll make it right. No, Derek. The courts will make it right. Your father's not here to see what you've become, and for that, I'm grateful. Don't call me again. I hung up and blocked the number, sitting back in Tom's old office chair. I looked at the photo of our family from 5 years ago. Derek smiling, Tom's arm around him, me in the middle, believing we'd built something lasting. The phone rang again. This time it was Laura. Maggie just wanted to check you're okay. I'm documenting everything while it's fresh. Someone else will need this roadmap someday. You saved yourself, Maggie, and your evidence will save others. The prosecutor says this is the cleanest elder fraud case they've ever seen. After we hung up, I made one last note on my whiteboard, underlining it 3 times. They took the money, I took back the truth, and truth signs with handcuffs. Thank you for listening to my story. I'd love to know where you're hearing this. Drop a comment below and let's connect. Please subscribe to the channel if this resonated with you, and share your thoughts. Have you or someone you know faced family financial betrayal? Your stories matter too.